Aloha, dear sweet family of light. It's me, Lisa Transcendence Brown. And I'm going to use this as a November energy report. I'm going to talk about a lot of things like I usually do. It's been a while since I did a video, so there's a lot to cover and share. Lots going on, as there always is. Okay, so as we continually activate these higher light frequencies, there's a lot going on inside of everyone. Some are aware and some are not. Some can feel things going on inside of their bodies. Some cannot. Some can hear. Some cannot. Some can see. Some cannot. But it doesn't mean that it's not happening. It's just the difference in our awareness and how present we are and how much we've come to pay attention to and understand. Now, understanding comes through our own experiences. It comes through our gathering of knowledge. It comes through being open to that which we didn't understand and challenging ourselves constantly not to conform to the old boxes and the old ways of thinking anymore. It means opening our heart completely, coming from this space all of the time, never shutting down anymore, and recognizing when something causes us to shift back into that space of protection, when we close down, when we feel like anything out there has more power than we do. And it's coming to understand everything energetically. And this is what the human aspect of us lacks, is we don't understand the energy of things. We don't know how to read the frequency of things. We don't know how to feel because we haven't let ourselves open up fully without feeling threatened. We perceive everything as a human backwards and the opposite of how everything is. And so this means working with our perceptions completely, every one of them, and expanding them, and finding so many different ways to look at things. And that is a lot of work, especially when we had a very closed mind. To me, that's our human aspect. We lived in fixed boxes. We had a lot of fear. We had limited perceptions of how things were. And we believed them. And becoming multidimensional, again, means letting go of all of those perceptions and not even giving them any energy anymore. But until we can come to that place or that space to not give them any energy, we give them all the energy we've got. We get all wrapped up in it, all tied up in it. We put everything we got into it, and then we realize, wow, that was all about me. That was all my stuff. I had no idea. That's what was going on. I got some hair stuff going on here, don't I? You can tell, yeah, whatever. Okay, so this entire process is a complete evolution. It's an evolution of our entire being. It is on a molecular level, on a cellular level, bigger than any of us as humans could ever see. We have to actually experience these things, and we have to pay attention to everything, and we have to let go of the old perceptions of what we thought that was. So when there's movement inside the body, not jumping to the conclusion of I'm having a drug anymore. Yep, I saw the video drug. Not jumping to the conclusion of I'm having a panic attack anymore. Or that there's something wrong with me, or I need to be fixed, or I need to go fix something. We need to honor ourselves. We need to give ourselves what we need. We need to nurture ourselves. We need to pamper ourselves. Not from a egoic place. From a place of I love myself so much that I need this for me right now. And as I do this for me, then I can be in service and I can assist others and I can guide and I can help. We can't do anything for anybody else if we cannot do it for ourselves first. We can't sit around telling everybody how they need to go do their journey and we're not doing it for ourselves. And besides, once we start to do it for ourselves, we don't need to go tell anybody how they need to do the journey anymore. It is all backwards. Honoring the journey. Ascension, awakening, remembering, consciousness, expanded consciousness, multidimensionality, you name it, all of those words. Light being embodiment, the embodiment of our light, of us. This is a multifaceted and very intricate process that is simple. When we embrace the journey and start to honor it, and things get a lot easier, there's no more fight or struggle, we recognize our own resistance, and we move through things really easy, and we allow realities to transpire or unfold for us. We pay attention to our frequencies, and we change them. We open up instead of closing down as that animal instinct inside of us, that survival instinct. We don't have that anymore. It goes. All right. Last month, I talked about how the focus was on the physical body and what we needed. That will always be true. That will never change. As a matter of fact, it will always be more true, more than before. And because the activation of our light body, our crystalline light body, starlight, whatever, I use a lot of words because it's all of those things. The solar, crystalline, starlight body needs a lot of attention. It needs a lot of care. We need a lot of alone time, solitude for ourselves. We are activating and integrating a whole lot of stuff. And depending on how you chose to do the journey here will depend on how or when you need this. Now, sleep is number one. It is the most important thing anyone awakening will ever do. And sleep is earmarked as lazy, or not doing enough, or a lot of us as humans, we dictated when we wanted to sleep. We set hours. If I didn't get a number of hours of sleep, I didn't get enough sleep. We don't sleep like that here, and technically we don't sleep at all. So as the human evolves consciously and sleep changes for them, they get confused because they don't understand what sleep really is. And sleep is our conscious way of interacting in other states and our unconscious way of allowing what needs to occur. Which means that when we close our eyes and we shut down, or we close our eyes and allow the brain and the body to relax, and this is the most important part, we have to allow everything to relax so that we can actually integrate these higher light frequencies, and we can get out of the way. Photonic light shuts us down. It makes us groggy. We're anchoring the lucid dream here. We're anchoring New Earth in every moment, and we walk in it physically. It's a very different existence. And this is about New Earth existence. And this is what I guide and assist people with, is this is the way we live. It's not a thing that we do for a moment out of the day. This means a complete evolution of our entire existence here, and for everything to evolve in light. We walk in light. We transmit light. We're light beings. That's who we are. But in order to do this, this means saying no a lot, cutting out a lot of stuff that is a distortion in our field. So I'm going to move to the field of consciousness. In the beginning, we just try to stay conscious. And as we master consciousness, and we're like, oh, cool, I didn't let that knock me off balance. Oh, cool, I didn't need to get triggered to bring up some of my anger or separation I had inside, because there's a lot of triggers necessary. There's a lot of stuff inside of us. And when you think you're done, get ready. More will come, because this is how it works. It never ends. Just how we experience the journey changes. It gets a lot of fun. That deep, heavy-duty core stuff that's got to come up becomes really easy. It's not a big deal anymore. We deal with it. We move on. It's very quick here. There's a lot of discernment, as a lot of people will use the word discernment. Very important along the way. There are so many tools of navigation. There are so many things that we can do. We have to decide which ones work for us. And there's a million gazillion things. It's really cool. Now, as you expand in light, as you hold light inside, your physical body is going to completely evolve. What the body goes through, evolving in light, goes beyond any human comprehension of what's going on. It, too, is a very intricate process of upgrades. And holding light means everything inside of us that is not light has to come up. It's got to be triggered, activated, my word. It's got to become visible so that we can clear it out, so that we can move on, so that we can say no, so that we can open our heart and not need it in our world anymore. As we do, our physical body completely transforms, reconfigures itself. Cellular memory clears and purifies us, and then we move into cellular consciousness, and that is a whole new ball game that goes way beyond anything we ever perceived too. Our cells are constantly moving. Zoom, zoom, zoom. When there's density, we'll go through gravity shifts. Heavy light, heavy light. Our cells, our body expands, blows up in air, then it will contract. At first, it's the whole body. As that cellular memory within us activates that old DNA, the carbon-based physical structure continually activates. Anything that was dense inside of us, it gets triggered so that it can play in our world. And as the play in the world occurs, and we master our own realities in present moment from within us, and we start to understand, and we start to move things out of our reality, or we move ourselves out of that reality, and we don't want to be there anymore. It's a very necessary part of the process because we cannot move into a different reality if we're holding on to the old one out of fear or safety, because we think we need that, and we're blocking ourselves. So you want to pay attention to where you're blocking yourself. And technically, you can't block yourself. Technically, you could never do anything wrong. Technically, you're always completely, awesomely perfect. Every one of us are. Every one of us are special, but no more special than the next. Special in our unique way, which is beautiful and magnificent, but we have to come to see this within ourselves. We have to honor this within ourselves, and we have to bring it from the inside out, and we are to share it with everybody else. We're not supposed to hide our light anymore. Now, other humans will judge us. That's okay. When you quit worrying about what somebody else thinks, it gets a lot easier. We don't care. Why? Because we're looking out for what we need, because we're upgrading a crystalline structure. We're responsible for holding a grid work of consciousness here. And holding this grid work of consciousness means walking in a completely different physical reality than we once did. These physical realities that are different, they don't resemble the old ones at all. They're beautiful, they're magnificent, they're magical, they're pure. And connections with others are pure too. Now, what you'll come to find is that when they're not, you're not going to enjoy being there. You're not going to like it anymore. You're not going to want it anymore. But there's a step that's required for us. We need to stay in these situations as long as there's something there that we need. Instead, if we're not able to exist from a place of love and honor for ourselves and others, simultaneously, all at the same time, without compromising anything at all, without losing a part of ourselves, then we need to stay there and work it out. Now, for me, each time I found challenges, I had to deal with it. Now, when you get to a point where you're done, where you can't be triggered anymore because it's not yours, you've worked it out, you love yourself completely, you love the other person, you're uttering complete gratitude for their role there to assist you with bringing that out of yourself. When it's no longer yours, you step out from in front of the mirror and you'll look at it and go, wow, I don't need to be here anymore. It's okay. Now what I do is I tell my universe, okay, universe, bring me the next reality. I'll honor it and pay attention to it, and I'm ready for that. And you pay attention to your body. If you're not ready, you're going to know it because you're going to feel hesitation and fear. That tells you that new reality can't come easily because you're holding on to something. So you want to work with that. Any hesitation within you means you're not ready, and that's yours. So there are a lot of things that we do along the way to understand how to move things out. But until you're done with it, you're not done with it, and it means it's yours, and you've got to work with it to come to that place of love, come to that place of honor, come to that place of respect, gratitude, appreciation, all of those things. But come to that place where you don't need it in your world anymore. You're ready to move on to the next awesome thing and move out of that reality. There are certain things we have to do in order to move the realities out. But if you can just be present and aware and realizing where you're coming from and why things are occurring in your world, things get a whole lot easier as you do. So, a field of superconsciousness is completely different. As humans, we were physically affected by those around us. Something would trigger us, or we would pick up on others and we would feel it inside of us. That was our stuff, our part of a collective, whatever you want to call it. We worked through clearing all of that out of our physical body. Our light body activates. And then we become in tune as the universe, and it's no longer a physical world thing. Here and there, it'll come along, it'll trigger something that's got to come up and out. We trigger it, we bring it up, out, we keep moving. But it's an energetic experience then. We energetically, with our energy, not our physical body, feel everything going on outside. Inside, we're always at peace. We don't get knocked off balance. But our energy feels it. And we're like, wow, that's a distortion. That's interfering with my frequency. Because what happens is we actually move into a different bandwidth where our entire field can feel everything. 360 degrees. If anybody thinks from their human mind, it drops the frequency down and it affects our field. You can hear a human a mile away, because of the limits. And not only that, it's a different frequency bandwidth that we operate in the unified field. It's a different frequency bandwidth. So when you function from the unified field as the unified field, anything that is not unified creates a distortion in that field, and it can be felt with every particle of you. But it doesn't throw you off. We stay inside our body. We get back in our body. If we left, if we went off into another time, we come right back in. We're like, come back. And we don't need to be off over there playing in that. It's not our business. We don't care. There's a lot of checking ourselves to see what's going on. Superconsciousness field means you're walking in a different bandwidth completely. Your physical body has upgraded to a lot of light. Every cell is moving 24/7. It never stops. There is continual communication going on inside your body. This is your crystalline structure. Everything is energy here. Everything is a frequency, a tone, a sound, a feeling. We use all of our senses to exist. Taste is a big deal. When I went from leaving human, if you will, to light body activation, the senses were coming alive, so I needed really spicy food. Food was boring. And then this happened over years. It wasn't like a one time thing. And I ate spicy because I was feeding my senses of taste, sound, everything is a frequency. And you start to feel colors. And so I stopped wearing certain colors. Predominantly, I used to wear all black, and then black went because I didn't like the feel of it, and I went to bright colors, and it was vibrant and stuff. So each one of us, you can feel what works for you. Superconsciousness means your field is so expanded that anything that enters your field is a vibration, and you're very aware of it. Now, a really human is a huge disruption because there's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of thinking, and that's like grinding. It brings everything to a halt, and your field, our field, is so expanded that anything that doesn't spin at a really high frequency creates a distortion in the bandwidth. And we pick up on it, and it feels ooey gooey. It feels, some things feel like static. Some things interrupt flow. Resistance will be a disruption to the field. You can actually feel your energy really huge and be awesome, and then somebody can come around with resistance. And it's like bringing our field to a stop and trying to push it in the other direction, because energy has a spin. So as we have worked to reverse all of our humanness, our spin came to a halt, 0 point, and started spinning in the other direction. Well, energy, everything is spinning in different directions until it all merges into one. And when it merges in one, you don't have those distortions anymore. And in the beginning, it might have been something small or a little part of me, and then it works through the whole body, and then it's every cell. And you'll feel gravity shift. Your head will get all whatever. And in the beginning, that's a big deal because you can't keep your balance. You have to hold on. You have to walk really present with your feet. And so we're acclimating to walking in the higher realms, in these higher light frequencies, holding them all the time. We're crystal grid keepers of the higher light. Some see themselves as light pillars, holding and transmitting the light. We are many things, and each person has a different purpose here, if you will, yet we all have all purposes, and so there isn't one. We're all things, and just some are more drawn to doing it one way. Some are more earthly and working with the earth. Some are higher, as far as not higher, lower, but more airy, cosmic, if you will. But there is no difference between any of us. We're all things. And so there's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. Nobody's better than the next. I've seen a lot of people lately writing about people being further along than others. Comparing themselves is a big deal. We don't compare ourselves to others. This is our journey, and we're doing it the way we need to for us. Our only job is to embrace it, focus on it, make it a priority, and dedicate ourselves to our journey and what we need for us, and doing what we're shown from inside first, and letting everything else align in response. There are many things. So yes, I could talk for a million years and never get finished. And I started out doing an energy report, so let's talk about energy. As all move into higher states of consciousness, higher frequency bandwidths, new earth existences, and actually being and doing the new realities in their physical world. No longer a thing you play with or you go meditate for a moment and come back and then go back to your world. It doesn't work that way. You incorporate all of those things into every moment of your day. Every moment is sacred. Every moment is love. Every moment is a transmission of light and paying attention to what's going on inside, clearing it up. If it surfaces, you deal with it. Be done. Get it out. We don't play with the old stuff here. It's very quick. Now, the physical body's going through a lot of upgrading. Physical realities are aligning really fast. And as fast as something collapses, there's awesome things occurring in other dimensions and realities. Yeah, I know my video's got issues. As something collapses, I'll repeat that, then there are also amazing things occurring in the other dimensions and parallel realities, if you will. We do have completely different universes running simultaneous, all at one time. observation, presence, awareness, and stepping away from all of the old stuff and observing, you can actually watch them and see them occur. And you get a choice in which one. Beyond that, you get to activate all of those realities that you've been waiting for all along to come forth for you. But not by playing in the old ones and allowing the old things. You actually have to realize that your thoughts are creating that physical reality, and so you work with your thoughts and what's going on inside of you, and you choose an alternate reality. You actually focus on that other reality, and you start aligning yourself with the realities that you really, really want, and you do the things that you're shown inside are necessary in order for that to occur. There is one moment where get busy, get busy, get busy. There's a whole lot to do. Next moment is go to sleep. Next moment is get up. Next moment we're walking around in groggy, foggy states while we're anchoring the higher realms and photonic light and cosmic energies inside our physical body, clearing timelines ridiculously in our sleep, which is awesome. Sleep is really important in order to clear out all those old timelines as fast as we're moving through light activations now. So activate, 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 get a really good night's sleep. If you can't sleep, there's reasons for that, and to understand those reasons is really important too. Some people have taken on enough light that it's time to get busy and get to work. And you'll know if that's you. But you just ask, what am I supposed to do? If it's like get up and get busy, you don't know how many times along the way my higher self would wake me up in the middle of the night and I wanted to sleep, and it's like, no, get busy. You need to be busy working, get up. And it's like, okay, fine. I would get up groggy, foggy, and I would work, and a couple hours later I'd done a lot of work, and I was like, okay, now go back to sleep. And I'd go back to sleep, and then I'd wake up 30 minutes later and it was time to go again. Our universe runs the show. We honor it, we listen to it, and we do what we need. We don't listen to what other people say because that's their judgment. Those that honor and respect you will honor and respect what you need. If you don't honor and respect you, you'll listen to them and you'll compromise yourself. So just pay attention to where you're coming from and what's going on as far as November goes. Every moment's going to be more light. Every moment's going to be bigger than it was before. Every moment's going to be more than it was before. It's the crystalline structure is going through massive upgrades. And so there are many topics that could be important. It will always be to focus on what you need, focus on what you're doing, how you're being in service. If being in service is you getting enough sleep so that you can hold light, then that's your way of being in service right then. Doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're doing what comes from inside of you. There's a lot of synchronizing going on for those. When you start holding a lot of light, you have to synchronize constantly. Synchronize. You'll come around somebody and you're like, wow, we operate at different frequency bandwidths. That's okay. That's not a judgment. You're not in the same bandwidth. Now, if you really do have a common interest of something you really love and something you desire to do together, then you can synchronize because your heart is open and it's easier there. But if you bring a bunch of people together who are on different frequencies and different bandwidths and have all different kind of purposes and they're not in the same place, then it's more of a struggle because you're trying to make things happen that aren't meant to. But there is also a process, and this is what's important for New Earth. And this is where I came here to say, almost 30 minutes into this, is New Earth existence. This is putting it in play. This is holding the light and honoring, and there are a lot of people going through, and we'll write on this soon, I haven't had a chance, their own I Am presence, divine. The words the other night were the great I Am, and then the next day it came up the I Am presence, and there are a lot of people going through embodiment of their I Am presence, and it's really important because And from the point of activation of that consciousness and the embodiment of that consciousness can be many years. It can be a month, it can be a day, it can be a few moments. And each is going to be different. It's going to be dependent on the amount of light that you hold. For me, the moment I activate an energy, it integrates right in. I don't have the delay of that a lot do, because I'm very aware of what's going on inside of me in that moment, and that's my priority, and I don't have to stop and move a whole lot of stuff out. Now, if there is anything within me that doesn't operate at that frequency, then I'm going to have to go through something continually every day to get that out of my physical vessel, my physical world, to unify everything to that higher light frequency so that I can walk and exist in that higher light frequency as that being here. And so for me, I have to do the same thing. Anything that doesn't operate at that higher light frequency, when it activates, there's going to be a clearing process of everything that's a lower frequency that was within us. And sometimes they take a year or two or three, and sometimes they take a week. Sometimes they take a moment. You'll know as you embrace the journey and start paying attention to what's going on with you. Embodiment means that you can actually be that without feeling like you're not good enough or that you're a lesser being. When you can remember that this is you and you can hold it in purity and you can claim it from a place of empowerment for you and all others that you interact with, that's a completely different place and space to be in. So, honoring our field of consciousness. Superconsciousness means your field is huge and it expands so far out that anybody in a range is going to affect it. And so in order to maintain this field of consciousness, the more expanded we are, the bigger our field. The bigger our field, the less we can have anybody that operates at a different frequency in our field. We have to get very selective, not from a place of judgment. This is not what this is. This is from a place of existence and honoring the frequencies of higher light. And that which is in our physical world will affect us if we are not commanding our reality from within. If we are not standing in our light and not allowing it to occur, then it's going to occur until we do. So this is about you paying attention. Focusing on your field of consciousness. Focusing on your higher light. Focusing on embodying the frequencies that you're activating. Holding them and paying attention where you compromise and where you allow judgment in your world. Where you worry about what another one thinks. And where you don't honor you. This is a big one. Because this is not being selfish. This is a necessity. And we do have to go through a selfishness stage. We become selfish. So that we can actually do what we need to do here for us. And then we're not selfish anymore. So pay attention to the way you perceive this journey and what you're doing for you. Challenge your perceptions and pay attention to what you listen to. It's really important to decide what you need, to honor what you need, to commit to what you need, to follow through with what you need, and allow everything else to come into alignment out there in response to what you're choosing consciously in every moment from a place of love for yourself. Because when you do this, you do it for all others too. So, energies are going to be off the charts, huge, high, cosmic, massive upgrades, crystalline, beyond anything you've ever seen. It's always going to be big, always going to be more. I know this video card, I'm working on it, or sound card. It's always going to be bigger. There's always going to be more. So, focus on you. Because when you do, it's a whole lot easier to navigate the journey consciously and to pay attention to what's going on, things get a whole lot easier. And don't beat yourself up. Don't shortchange yourself. Don't talk yourself out of the things you truly love from inside. Pay attention to where you have lack energy, and most don't even understand what this is. If you pay attention to where you're coming from, your motives, and the way that you think about things, you'll start to understand where that energy is coming from and what's going on with you. For me, what I do is when you exist energetically, you can hear, see, feel everything in frequency again. So you're aware. The moment I hear a tone, I hear lack. The moment I hear a tone, I hear judgment. The moment I hear tones and frequencies, I don't hear the way the typical human hears. I haven't for years. In the beginning, it just started as frequencies and tones, and I had to learn to understand them and work with them. This takes constant practice in every moment of the day. But now every sound, every tone, everything has a frequency to it. You can hear, see, feel every bit of it. And there's no hiding in frequency. You can hear hiding too. It's quite interesting how we function here. It's very different than the old ways. So, focus on your light body. Focus on nurturing you. Focus on pampering you for what you need. Pulling away solitude where you need it. Big one. I have to do the same thing. Slow everything down. Bring it to a halt. Come from that space. And pay attention to what you need. And make sure you're getting what you need. And the rest will come into alignment for that. So commit to you. You, make you your investment and whatever you need, because when you invest in you, when you put this, all of this first, everything will align in response. Now, things will go. They weren't meant to be there. They served a purpose. You'll start to understand all along the way how physical matter works in conjunction with the higher light frequencies and particle realignment and physical matter in your world. So, I'll talk about that in another one. So come join us for the upcoming things that we have going. Thank you everybody that supports us. We really, really appreciate it because we put everything we've got into this for everyone. And for everyone I get to connect with, I love you guys. It's awesome. And we see you on some of the upcoming events very soon too. Focus on you. That's always going to be number one for me with everybody. And get ready, because it's going to be more magnificent than it ever was. It's going to be more awesome than it was. But you got to let go of what's not awesome. You got to let go of what's not. You got to let go of what's not love within you. Because we're the ones that hold on. We're the ones that get out of the way. And my Shama bird out here is chirping at us. She talks to us all day. So I love you guys. I'll come back. November energies are going to be, we're still integrating higher light frequencies and learning how to walk in all these different realities and what affects us and what doesn't. And it's actually getting harder to go around the lower consciousness grid work and more humans because of how it affects our field. And then it affects our physical body as well. Because when you are tuned to the higher frequencies and you take yourself around higher, lower, only for the sake of explanation here and how it affects bandwidth-wise. But every time you subject your physical body to the lower bandwidths of frequencies, it's kind of hard. It's pretty harsh on our system. We can't take it anymore. Now, this isn't from a place of emotional reaction. This is a physical response because our higher light frequency body holds a lot of light and it can't exist in the density that it did once. So it's short-term exposure when certain things are going on. Other times it's easy. You can go play, you can have a blast. Other times you're like, wow, I can't be around this. And until you're actually around it and experience it, you won't really understand. So you want to pay attention to how you're being affected by that which is occurring in your outside world. It's going to show you a whole lot. It's going to tell you what's inside of you. If it can trigger an emotion or something to come up, anger, or one, it was an old energy and cellular program that needed to come up and go. Two, you're purifying, you're cleansing the old distortions that were inside of you. And three, you're activating a higher self version of yourself so that more love can come through. So all of this is very important and beautiful when you embrace it. Not so fun when you're going through it. Honestly, it sucks. It's not fun at all. But that's a part of the journey too, is recognizing when it's uncomfortable and understanding what to do. And discomfort shows us, one, where we've got to go. We got to get it out of us. And so when I feel discomfort, it's, man, that's where I got to go. I got to get this out of me. And then you move through it and it's done. And your light body, your physical body, your crystalline structure retunes itself. And then the distortions, the next time it comes around, you're not affected by it as much anymore. So everything is a continual tuning process here as well. So, all right, light frequency beings, yes, it's a different existence than it once was. And there is a lot to the journey. And so you come first. What you're here to do comes first. Your purposes, fulfilling your missions, reaching others, exposing yourself, helping others, letting go of the judgment and the perceptions of what all this is. And if it's time to get busy, get busy. If it's time to go to sleep, go to sleep. We are here to do many things at one time. So we don't just do one thing. So see, when you're just trying to focus on, I just need to do this one thing. Sometimes we have to get up and say, okay, I can only do this one thing right now because I have a lot of things to accomplish. And we're aware of many things. So I'll actually make myself notes and I'll pick it up and I'll focus on that one thing, move through it, because it's really hard to maintain focus in these higher frequencies too. Logical work, as far as like technical stuff, really hard to do. It is a huge challenge, and 90% of my work is technical. And I have to work really slow, and I have to cut everything out, and I have to get everybody away from me. And I need my time, my space, so that I can do this work and stay in service to everybody in the capacity that I do too. No disruptions. And I spend a lot of time just being in my space so that I can physically produce a lot of things for everybody. The human doesn't understand how much work it takes just to do this as we once did. And as more of us come together and support each other and work together in these different ways, then more can handle different aspects of this. But there's a synchronizing process in that's got to occur too. So it's not as simple as it used to be, because we have to work in frequency bandwidth and synchronizing and consideration for each other, honor to ourselves and all others at the same time, not being impositional, and honoring what everybody needs without taking anything personal at all. And everybody being on the same wavelength, notice the words, of contributing and where we come from. Every bit of this really, really important. So we honor it. And so you see where you're coming from and you see what's going on in your world. And see what you don't want anymore. And you can ask for it to go easier and bring forth something else. And then you work within that flow of easy. So I love you guys. Mahalo. Have an amazing November. And I'll be seeing you more and more and more as we get more stuff up and out. We're doing a lot of amazing live interactions with people. Love you guys. Mahalo.